That does a thing. Okay. Hello. Welcome, everybody. This is a obviously family-friendly, wholesome, super fun time happy hour with candy and sprinkles. We will be playing Mörk Borg by Pelle Nilsson and Johan Nohr from Free League Publishing. My name is Jack. I am your dungeon master, and pronouns are any. But it's less about me and it's more about you all. So let's go ahead and introduce yourselves. Just give me your name, pronouns, and then just tell me what you're most excited for to get out of the game today. We'll start from the top. Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob. He, him. I have long gazed lovingly at my copy of Mörk Borg that sits on my shelf in my office at home and never had a chance to play it yet. So I've been dying to for quite a while. And yeah, today's the day.
All right, next we got Mads.
Hi, I'm Mads, and she, her, they, and I'm originally this was supposed to be Cyborg, but I don't think anybody necessarily had a copy yet or something readily available, so we went to the original. So we're going to be playing Mörk Borg today, and I'm excited to see what this is about. I've heard of it. I've seen other actual plays play this, so this will be my first foray into this game. So excited for that.
Awesome. And lastly, we've got James.
Hi everyone, I'm James and my pronouns are he and him, and I, as I may have mentioned before, I've played a couple of games of Mörk Borg, but I never actually, I've not played it, I've run it as a GM, but I've never actually played it, and I've always wanted to, but never had the chance, so this will be great.
Well, thank you all. Again, thank you for all coming. So essentially, for those who don't know, Mörk Borg is a pitch black apocalyptic fantasy RPG about lost souls and fools seeking redemption, forgiveness, or the last remaining riches in a black and dying world. So obviously very uplifting material here. The tone we're going for, it's as described as a doom metal album of a game, a spiked flail to the face. It's light on rules, heavy on everything else. From my own delivery, I typically, because I appreciate how, I guess, extravagant everything is in a very dark way, I like to lay into that almost to the point of satire. So there will be some levity in a very bleak and dark way. I try not to take the game too seriously. I'm also very much inspired by like 1980s sword and sorcery movies and like over the top, slasher movies. So that's a lot of where I'm pulling from with how I execute it. This is intended for mature audiences. There will be subject matter that is not limited to, but includes gore, blasphemy, devouring humans, cannibalism, angels, any kind of beasts you might find, death, doom, everything you want in a game. So we've got some safety tools. We've got the open door policy. We also have the X card. And we also have lines and veils, which you've already established prior to the game. And I believe that's it. But before I get too deep into things, I would like each of you to roll a D100. And
48.
48. All right. So, Rob, you have, and so this is a trinket or an item, and you can have it between your characters or between the two characters that you have. We'll explain a little bit of that in a bit. But yeah, so your item is going to be, you said 48?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you have you have black and white face paint, so corpse paint.
I got a 79. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just said I got 79, sorry.
You have an oil painting of a hooded skeleton. How you're carrying that around, how big it is, it's up to you, but that's what you have. And lastly, Mads.
Oh, darn, off by one number, 68.
Sick dead. I'm going to give you 69 because I want to. You get a bird build mask. So with that, let's do a little bit of a rundown quickly on some of the mechanics of the game. Again, it's kind of a old school rules sort of game, very rules light. So there are 4 stats you've got, 4 abilities, and we'll just use these modifiers to add and subtract from your rolls. It's usually a d20, depending on, it's mostly a d20, but depending on like the power or the weapon, those dice change. Combat itself, which there will probably be a decent amount of, is 1 attack and 1 movement. 1 movement meaning like a regular size room, so no going all the way across the globe and then back. Important to note, a lot of you will have omens in your inventory, and what those omens do, they do a variety of things. They can either deal maximum damage with 1 attack. They can re-roll a dice roll. It can be yours or someone else's. You can lower damage dealt to you by a d6. You can neutralize a crit or a fumble, or you can lower one's test difficulty rating by -4. And lastly, we've got short rests. This is going to be a 1 shot, so don't expect a long rest, but for a short rest, you have to just drink or eat something. It can be meat, it can be blood, whatever you want. But you get a d4 increase unless you're infected with something, which might happen. So with that, are there any questions before we start?
I was wondering, you had us create 2 characters each. Are they both in play from the start, or is
No.
one a backup?
So one is essentially backup. Because of the brutal nature of the game, and with 1-shots, I like to just kind of lay into the possibility of death. But it's to fill up some of the time. I also have players make an extra character just in case. But yeah.
Sounds good.
Any other questions? All right. Well, if we're all ready, we can begin at the sepulchre of the Swamp Witch. East of Lake Odna, in the slithering swamp, is the Swamp Witch's ancient sepulchre and an altar of dead roots covered in lost symbols. They say it if certain forbidden words are chanted at it, any wish is fulfilled. Even stopping the approaching doom is not outside the powers of the Swamp Witch's altar. You all stumbled on these forbidden words, on a murdered messenger wearing Mad King Fasmu IX's crest in a ditch. Try saying that 10 times fast. You just need to get past the strange serpent drug cult lairing in the ancient tomb and reach the altar. Leading up to this, though, we see about a dozen draft horses trudging through the stinking muck and mire of this swamp. Both the mounts and their riders are covered in piecemeal armor, stifling humidity and buzzing with blood-hungry insects. 8 of the mounts drag behind them large spiked orbs made of wide bands of ancient iron. Their leader, a wolverine of a man whose corpulence is layered in coarse dark hair and a constellation of scars, lifts a battered ram horn and lets loose an echoing call to the rest of the haggard infantry as they approach a small pond. The water is of little interest to them. What sits at the opposite end, however, is a large stone gate standing in 5 feet of water, the color of spoiled mead. The large man, who is only known as the jailer, calls out to his men. Bring me the first 4. The others can sweat it out in their sails until they're needed. And these men obey. They get off their horses and untether 4 of these metallic orbs and start to roll them towards the edge of this pond. These orbs, these cages, sit there. And as these men begin to open, we will begin to introduce your first characters. And so just give me your character's name, your class, any abilities you want to call out, and tell me why you're imprisoned. We'll start with Torvul.
Torvul is the class Wretched Royalty. He is the son and heir of a kingdom in Tveiland that fell into penury. He was imprisoned for stabbing someone in a drunken argument over a gambling debt. He has flat ability scores apart from a +1 in agility. He does, however, have 6 hit points, which is pretty good by the standards of Mörk Borg, I think. And equipment-wise, he has a couple of special things. The Horn of the Schleswig Lords that allows him to, blowing upon that can kind of aid someone in a non-combat task. And he also has Barbarista, the incredible horse, although I'm guessing the horse is not around at this time.
Well,
he's locked into a cage.
Well, we can get to that. We'll actually get to that in a little bit. And yeah, also just give us like a brief physical description. Paint us a picture.
Yeah,
like a visual.
I think he's of medium height, disheveled appearance. I think he's, that there's some he has blackened fingernails almost to the point that they're falling off. There's a kind of rosy stain of broken veins across his face because he's spent a couple of years soaked in the worst drunken pits of Gallienbeck. He wears the remains of once fine clothes, breeches, and a kind of flowing shirt, and his hair is cropped short but dirty, unwashed looking.
Real charmer. Yeah. Mads.
So Eldanar is a forlorn philosopher, and he possesses I can't even pronounce it clearly. Basically, it makes like burnt meat, or something to a tablet that can feed famished people. And he has a possibly disdainful Hegelian owl that for whatever reason sticks with him, but he suspects that this owl has less respect for him than the mice that he eats. And Eldanar presents a very messy, haggard appearance. His face, when resting, is kind of a maniac, and he speaks with a loud mouth, usually. He was sentenced to death for blasphemy, heresy, and, the philosophy that peeled fruit should be eaten sideways and upside down, while pissing in the street and singing about kingdom downfall. May or may not have been drunk at the time. So, and he goes around with wrapped hands and wrapped feet, like no real footwear or gloveware to be found, and just spouts his very strange ideas to anyone who doesn't listen.
Awesome. James.
So our last wretch is, I think this is probably a very bad translation of a long dead language, but his name is Abhorred Reigns the Flesh, which is Rain, and he's a pale one. So he's this kind of strange, pallid, sort of sticky, vaguely sort of amphibian-looking creature that was born from the egg of a swamp witch. So he's quite at home inside the cage, and he's a mischievous and ungrateful character. He's convinced that he cannot die, so he's absolutely convinced that an omen from the stars will save him from this fate. He's illiterate except in dead languages and can't read scrolls, but can randomly intuit magic. And he is obsessed with omens from the stars and always makes a pronouncement whenever he is as one of his omens. And at the moment, he was imprisoned for shouting from the rooftops of Grift that the king Sigfum, I think it is a heretic who doesn't understand the calendar of Necrobel of the end of days and is wrong about what fate the world has in store for it. So didn't make it very popular. But at the moment, he's sort of hissing and cursing in his cage.
Fantastic. Well, as you all begin to see light for the first time in many, many weeks, the men begin to drag you as best as they can out from these metal, these iron orbs. There are 4 other orbs in the back that are in varying degrees of disarray. Some of them are vibrating with excitement or rage. How are you all taking this as you feel these wiry, stinking jailers begin to pull you out towards this lake?
Torvul just falls to his knees and crawls toward the water and starts and douses his head in the edge of the pond, trying to wash the stink of weeks in prison off himself.
Nice.
There's a awful grimace. Well, I mean, that's basically Eldanar all wrapped up in a bow. Stuck on Eldanar's face when he finally sees the light of real, sun, and he also will stagger to the edge of the lake, but he will, while he's doing it and being dragged to there, he will start screaming out like the idea again that the peeled fruit definitely needs to be eaten only that way that has been said in the stars and cannot be remanded in any form or fashion, and then just keeps going on and on.
Yeah. One of the jailers is just you look up briefly at him, and his eyes are just flaring with rage, and you just feel this boot to your ribs as it kicks you into the ground. Heretic! And you see him kind of reach for a kind of a rotten apple that's in one of his sacks, and just in this mocking way begins to eat it the proper way, the way that not the proper to you way, but the way that all others do, this vertical manner, chomping into it
with a shaking finger. All like Eldanar will say, "You will pay for that. You will pay, not now, but in your other form." And
you just feel this chunk of Granny Smith apple just hit you in the forehead.
Just keeps going, like just keeps spouting off like the tenet. So
yeah. James.
So Abhorred drains the flesh. He's like this kind of like slimy, mucusy, pallid white, and looks quite at home in the swamp water, and just sort of flops down like a kind of tadpole or something into the ooze, and just gazes up at the stars and just laughs and starts having a one-sided conversation with different stars, and asking them questions and lapsing in and out of a language anyone understands, and just sort of cackling like and not really paying attention to the ground.
I love that. And as you all are brought to the edge of this lake, this pond, the head jailer, the beefiest jailer, begins to ride up and looming over you all, just sneering and smiling. Consider this your last chance, you miserable wastes of flesh and bone. Legend has it that this temple, this tomb, has the last living artifact of the Swamp Witch, the Luna's Vihunter. You get this sword for your king, you get your freedom. It's as plain as pig shit. You'll be careful though. Legend also has it that the brains of those who pass through that gate will be sweet morsels for whatever psychic parasites dwells inside. But if any of you get it, just kill each other. Burn the swamp if you need to. Just make sure you bring that sword back, and keep whatever else you find in there where it belongs, back down in that tomb. Any questions? No. And he begins to kind of kick at the air, signaling all of the other jailers who are behind you to put their boots against your backs, and just in this unison shove you all, kick you all into this peat. And you can hear them as you all begin to drift into the water, all of them just cackling and laughing as they begin to ride back towards the other horses, which still have the other orbs on them. How do you react? What's it like floating in this sickly green water?
Just drown me here. Why do I? What am I supposed to do with these two maniacs?
At that, basically, Eldanar is shouting into, you know, upward, and then like directing it, his pointing finger at the jailers leaving, and saying, "Bastards, heretics, you all don't know what you're facing."
And I think let's just play Abhorred just for shortness. He is like just floating in this disgusting ooze as if in the womb, just like happy and content, and says, "Well, the stars will not let me die. You will not die until the stars ordain either."
And with that, as the sound of laughter begins to dissipate, it starts to be drowned out by the sound of the buzzing of swamp life in the air. Eldanar, you do catch briefly a glimpse of the head jailer taking out a banana and eating it in that horrible heretical way. As you swim ahead, you start to see in the periphery all these little flickers of pale greenish light, which you would know to be eyes of all different shapes and sizes, just leering at you all, some of them moving, following as you're drifting through. But there's one pair of jade green eyes that is the strongest, it's most vibrant. And you watch as it begins to approach from out of the shadows, and you see drifting on this large floating leaf, this massive emerald serpent. And she looks at you all quizzically, tilting her head. "Ah, visitors. Lovely. What brings you here?"
Torvul just starts to splash around in the water looking for a branch or something to just put between him and this creature.
Torvul, you notice as this massive snake is sitting on this leaf, just drifting and floating. You notice on another leaf, just drifting by, this ghostly ethereal horse. You see like different like weapons sticking out of it, swords, spears. You see like one of its eyes is kind of hanging out. But as it starts to drift closer to you, you could just hear it chuckling to itself. "Caught yourself for doing best again, haven't you?"
Barbarista?
The one and only.
How did you come to be here? Are you haunting me?
I've always been haunting you. I mean, you've tried to kill me at least a dozen times. I said, you know it's not going to work.
You don't look in particularly good shape, I have to say.
You want to talk? Look at you there. You stink. And not the good kind of stink either.
I've been in jail for weeks. I'm in a swamp. What the hell do you expect?
As this is going on, the serpent looks to Torvul and looks to the other two of you. "Who is he talking to?"
Think of Horde looks up at the stars at a constellation that's of a horse, and then at the empty spot, and then at the snake and a snake constellation, and just starts laughing as if someone's done like a stand-up joke, like wheezing and bubbling and laughing.
And Eldanar is just looking from the snake to Torvul and at the empty space that he's talking to, and he might have eyes in the back of his head. It depends on what he believes that is really the most important. And I don't care. Why are we here? Some stinking sword, supposedly, but ugh.
Ah, the Swyhander. Yes. Well, You'll need to go there. You'll need to go deep into that sepulchre, but it is treacherous. I could give you something, though. You see that she starts to writhe and coil into the water, snaking around your bodies, as Torvul is, I presume, still arguing with Barbarister. But she tilts her head up at you, Abhorred reigns in the flesh. Have you ever heard of the Emerald Venom?
My mind is filled with venoms of many kinds. Ideas, some call them, but never the one that you describe.
If this snake had brows, it would cock one down and up. And she just slithers quietly back towards Eldanar. Have you ever heard of the Emerald Venom?
Basically, Eldanar's like kind of coughing up because he's getting some of the water in his throat.
Mm-hmm.
Is it important to the philosophy of how peeled fruit should be eaten? If not, then no.
You mean horizontally, yes?
And?
I'm not sure.
I almost thought I had a kindred spirit, but... Anyway. You said venom.
Yes.
Is this important to be able to get at this thing that we're supposed to get to be free or whatever?
It will certainly help. There are certain passages that are only visible under the influence.
Oh, I'm supposed to drink this.
Not quite. And you see that she smiles a bit, and there's a little bit of sunlight flickers and glimmers off her very large, hooked, venomous fangs.
Do you propose to partake me?
Well, the door only opens if I do.
Well, and he's just kind of starting to get like a little bit fidgety in his wrapped self. Well, I mean, I'm not opposed to seeing things and forming ways and paths to get what needs to be done, but I mean, I don't know if I would actually benefit.
I think you would. I'll come back to you. And she slithers in between you and Abhorred reigns, and she starts to coil over to you, Torvul. And as she does, you see this very massive, almost anaconda-sized serpent just coiling up to you. Are you preoccupied?
Will it numb the pounding in my head?
Well, it could. But generally, it makes things a lot more vibrant.
Then have on.
And at this point, a barrister just shakes his head. What's your mom going to say, huh? You out here in the middle of nowhere, just swimming about these layabouts, doing drugs now?
I'm sure she would be delighted with the news that I'd drowned in a swamp.
And at the point, the serpent looks back at the other two, and just there's a bit of a roll of the eye, and then she just chomps down onto your shoulder. And as she does, you just feel this intense burning surge through your entire body, starting from your shoulders, but then coursing up into your brain, into your synapses, until everything starts to just explode. And you shut your eyes and wince in pain for a moment until finally, when they open up, your pupils dilate. It's almost like that cutscene of Requiem for a Dream. Just everything goes faster. Your pupils are almost blackened. Your eyes are almost blackened by the width of your pupils. But everything now looks chromatic and vibrant and saturated. You see that there are even colors that you've never seen before, colors like Jael and Dome and Ulfire. You see that some of the, what look to be like dead roots to the others are now thriving with these breathing, undulating leaf buds. And all the buzzing of the insects and the things that feed on the carrion here becomes almost musical to you. And you look over at Babarister and you see that he's no longer this haggard, molting, rotting, spectral entity. He looks almost like this regal Pegasus, but wings are made of these like flowering leaf-like attachments. Why are you looking at me like that, huh?
This is rather good stuff. You two should try this. I haven't seen anything quite so lifelike in many a year.
All right, and at that point, you can see now that the serpent is smiling, and it's almost humanoid the way that her mouth curls up. But to the rest of you, she just still looks like a regular snake. But she turns back to the other two. How about it?
Do we see what, like any kind of like outward manifestation of what he just experienced in terms of like, is it just a snake bite and then he's just starting to, I don't know, look more vibrant or something?
Not necessarily. I mean, to you, everything else is very dull and dismal, and so that kind of sickly olive color. Just to him, you might see that his eyes, like he's looking at everything with this wonder, but there's no like physical trademark that he has that indicates that he's like under this influence besides his eyes.
Okay. Well, since he seems to have not incurred too much of any injury, I suppose that...
As soon as you say suppose, she just latches onto your arm. And you immediately feel that burning sensation up from your arm and into your body. And your eyes wince and close. And then when you open them, you see the same vibrancy of everything. You don't see Babarister, but you do see everything else. And it's almost as if there's like this, like, you know, those glass panes that when you look through them, they kind of shimmer and everything kind of becomes distorted. That starts to kind of briefly flash across your vision every so often.
You see. It's really quite pleasant.
I see with new eyes. I mean, this could be a sign of higher evolvement and enlightenment. And he starts getting really loud as he's tripping out on this stuff.
As you're yelling and
you think too much.
As the two of you are relishing in this moment, this ecstasy, the serpent comes back to you aboard. Slick One, are you ready for enlightenment as well?
This is but another genre of the alienation that is my life. I was born other, and no hallucinogen can change that. If it is what I require, then it is but another flavor of estrangement.
If a snake could sigh in exasperation, she would. And then she just launches into you, biting your thigh. And you feel that similar burning sensation. And when your eyes close and open, the world itself is much more saturated, much more vibrant, vibrating even.
In the sky is a deity, and it eats fruit the incorrect way. Fruit, Apostle.
Yes, well then, carry on and try not to die. And you watch as she slithers backwards, as almost as if someone filmed her in reverse, and she slithers back onto the lily pad or the giant leaf and begins to drift back into the shadows. Torvul, as she's drifting away, and as Barbarister's still seated on this giant leaf beside you, you watch as the stone gate, the very plain, unadorned stone gate, just covered in moss and splashes of swamp water, begins to shimmer, and you see these hidden sigils of snakes coiling up and around begin to glow in this dull green light before the door begins to lower into the water.
Well, I suppose the way ahead is clear enough. Are you two going to join me? Barbarister, are you coming?
Who are you talking to? I mean, Eldanar's kind of like putting his hands in front of him and just kind of like marveling at like the weirdness and how vibrant things are. And I think he can see the door, and just he sort of puts out a hand towards Torvul and another hand towards Abhorred, and again says, "Who are you speaking with?"
I'm talking to my fucking horse. Who do you think?
I think that you are... Never mind. It's fine, I'm sure. Everyone has an idea of what they see when they are fully engaged in this wonderful evolvement. And then, yeah.
Does Eldanar have hair?
Yes, he actually has if in this world he could have a comb over, he does. Because he's just like, it's sparse because he doesn't take care of himself. And it's like he's got the like the long locks down to his shoulders, but then like, you know, one big fat lock like this that he just tries to keep over the bald patch on his head. Not succeeding.
Torvul, you see that Barbarister is now begun to lift up his hair and chew on it, almost like straw or grass. What are these notes? Smell like pine and sturgeon.
Does Eldanar feel any of this?
You can feel like, you think it's maybe just like the wind coursing through your hair.
Okay.
But you can't really feel like anything gnawing at you.
He's just kind of like just, you know, as he's talking and philosophizing, he's just kind of like, you know, trying to get the hair back over the bald spot.
Aboard, there's this moment where you see some of the stars begin to fall from the sky, and they begin to like skip across the water into and file almost single file into the past this stone gate into this cave chamber.
And he laughs uproariously and then coughs and then says, "My friends have come to bid us welcome. We cannot die in their company." And then he goes up to the gate and he licks it and he says, "Slippery tannins with the taste of doom. Most invigorating."
Well, with that, I assume you're all entering. I know Abhorred is following his friends. What about the rest of you?
I think, yeah, Torvul starts to kind of splash through the muck, watching to see if Barbarister is following.
You turn around and Barbarister's not there.
Where did he go? Well, at least I won't have to put up with his bloody nonsense. Things are bad enough. Come on. Let's get this over with.
And you go into the cave?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Torvul, as you're I assume talking at Eldanar, letting him know that you're entering. As soon as you turn around, you see a barrister standing already inside this open area, and this entrance, and it looks down at you, and he says, "I'm sorry, what did you say?"
Well, that's a new trick, I must say. Very clever indeed.
There's a moment where his forehead begins to split open, and what looks to be like a little flower bud begins to coil out, and it opens up, and a little tiny horse head comes out. "Watch your mouth." We're tied together we're in this for life. Well,
I think Torvul,
your life.
Torvul just kind of examines closely, comes right up to this thing and follows the thread into the horse's forehead, trying to make sense of it.
And as you all stand in this this open area, you see that beyond the stone gate, there's this upward slope that leads into this damp and moist cave. You see that there's poorly made furniture that's just broken and rotting in puddles of swamp water. The air is filled with these scents of algae and mold, and for some reason, burnt bread. Otherwise, it's empty. You see immediately, though, to your left that there is an opening and a path that's unlit, but you can see that breaking off. However, because you all are filled with this emerald venom, you see to your right, you see these green sparks. You see, actually, aboard, you'd know that these were your star friends, and they're the ones who came down from the heavens. And they're dancing, and they've turned green in this chamber, but they're shimmering in the puddles, and they skip off at them. You see, all of you now see that these leaves are growing and breathing from the rock ceiling. They're sighing and whispering as they do. But aboard, you also see some of the stars begin to form into this doorway onto the right, forming like the shape of an outline.
My friends have shown the way. Walk through the threshold. It will bring us to the sword.
Do we see that too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll need something to light the way.
What do you have? And a barrister leans into you, whispering.
Nothing very useful, I don't think.
You should probably take something from someone else then.
That's what got me into this mess in the first place.
And that's what's going to get us out.
I suppose you're right.
And
well,
like I said, go on.
You creature, he says, turning toward the board. Lead the way.
I do not lead the way, rich man no more. I simply follow my friends. Listen, can't you hear them talking? They speak with wonderful tones.
Do we only see the manifestations? We don't hear anything, right?
No, you hear them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Their voices are sweet in the way that like a New Jersey bus driver's voice is really sweet. They're very vulgar, loud-mouthed even. I can't repeat what they're saying because it's quite frankly too crass. But yes, you all do hear them.
Actually, Eldanar's probably like, sounds like something I might be saying after a few. I think he's right. I think he's leading us. I think they're leading us to where we need to go. We should follow. And
anything that will drown out your voice and the voice of that damned horse.
Now, I admit I have a very resonant tone, but I have no idea what you are speaking of when you are talking about a horse. We do not see a horse here.
I think as Eldanar is saying this, Torvul just ignores him and trudges off toward this opening, this portal.
Okay. And the rest of you follow him? All right. So Torvul, you see first, as you pass through this illusory cave wall, you pass down into a chamber that is, it's a small walk into this clearing, but you see as you enter the clearing, this chamber littered with dried gators hanging from the ceiling. You see drawings of snakes made with a variety of bodily fluids, all plastered to the walls. How they're stuck there is, well, the medium might give you a clue. However, you see splayed out on a big mold-covered straw mattress, surrounded by different rags and different possible sacrifices. You see a man dressed in these robes, these hooded robes that look like they're made of gator hide. They're covered in these arcane runes. You see that he also has this rune-covered crown, and at his side is a very jagged looking spear. And he's just laying there on the mattress, muttering to himself. Are you all trying to go in there sort of stealthily, or?
Actually,
cautiously.
Cautiously, if not stealthily.
Okay.
I rolled my random power and I got that one that lets me be invisible, which is called Metzuhotl Blind Your Eye. So I could always just laugh and say, sometimes the optical spectrum of light is not enough, and just be invisible and just caper around.
Awesome. Yeah. So as you're going about invisible, the rest of you, if you're trying to go in sneakily, stealthily, give me an agility check. The DR is going to be for this. It's just going to be 12.
I got a 16.
All right. A 2?
I'm not kidding.
Loud voice.
Polyhedral die hate me.
I think I want to roll a reaction for that. As you begin to step in, how do you trip up? Well, why do you trip up, Eldanar?
Well, again, because Eldanar doesn't have proper footwear, and he's been pushed through the peat and then into this like soggy muggy lake or whatever, and he's only had wrapped gloves and wrapped legs and feet. Some of this is slopping around. I mean, it's loosened up and it's just kind of flapping, and you can hear the wet slaps into the room that they've entered. So definitely not stealthy at all.
Torvul, you hear this, and as soon as you hear that, you watch as the figure of the man who's laying down on this mattress just shoots up. What the? Oh man, what are you doing here? Harsh in the buzz.
Did you get bitten too?
Bitten?
We got bitten, and we have been enlightened. And his voice starts raising again.
Oh, what's going on? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were to kill me or something.
Wait,
nothing like that.
Wait, how do you eat your peeled fruit?
Oh, for goodness sake.
I mean,
this again.
I don't really eat peeled fruit. I just kind of eat it with the skin on. Am I supposed to
be
peeling it?
This actually gives
a moral quandary.
Eldanar some pause. Yeah, some moral quandary here. So he's actually in pause mode right now. So he's quiet. So you guys can appreciate the silence for a little bit.
Yeah, Abhorred, as this is going on, what are you doing?
I think Abhorred basically is like dancing around, looking at the crocodiles and saying, so many dead things in here, so little moisture, so much opportunity, but doesn't seem to. It's just sort of staring at all of the crocodiles.
As you're staring at the ones hanging from the ceiling, you can see right above this mattress and this robed, hooded figure. You see these 3 large snakes slithering upside down on the ceiling. They don't seem to be paying attention to you, any of you. They don't seem to wish to be disturbed at all, actually. But they are slithering and coiling, and they're very, very apparent to all 3 of you.
Are those snakes biting you? Is that
What snakes? Oh, you mean those? No, man, they're cool. They're down, whatever. Hey, come in, man. Just like chill. Get on my vibe.
I would be delighted to share your vibe. I must say, having just been bitten by a snake myself, it's a surprisingly pleasant experience.
Oh
recommend it.
yeah, man. That venom is hitting, right? It's like the best stuff.
It is without compare. I have been a little starved for intoxicants the last few weeks, and I must say it hits the spot, as they say.
Yeah. He goes up to you and starts to like try to like take your hand and slap it and pull him in for like the bro hug.
I think Torvul kind of cautiously goes along with this. He's found a kindred spirit, it seems.
You feel a tugging at your collar, and you feel that something's like pulling you back, and you can, this particular strength, and you can feel the huffing of breath, of horse breath, against your neck as he starts to try and yank you back.
And what now? He says, turning.
I haven't died a dozen times for you just to get high with this hippie.
I've been without a drink for weeks.
I haven't eaten or drinking anything at least 10 years. Cry me a river.
The last I heard, I was the master and you were the damned horse. I will do as I please.
Well, if it's like that, and there's like this just this like little pop sound effect as Barbarister just disappears.
I think Torvul kind of double takes that. Not sure if Barbarister is an apparition of the snake venom or something more.
At this point, this strange, very apparently inebriated man puts his hand on your shoulder. Eldanar, yo, is your guy cool? He seems like really stressed out over there.
He's been, I mean,
he's not like a narc, is he?
No, he's been seeing something. He's been talking about this horse. We don't see a horse. Do you see a horse? I don't see a horse.
No, I don't see a horse.
And he starts to get contemplative about his hands, like like the way they're looking. And
yeah, kind of undulating.
Yeah. So he's like, and then he starts looking at the dude and just being like, so you don't eat your fruit peeled?
I mean, I don't really like eat fruit at all.
That's fascinating. I'm almost sad for you. So many things that you're missing. And he starts, to start to spew his philosophy.
Hey, man, I've got everything I need here. I've got like shelter, I've got Gators, I've got all the hot, swampy sex that I want.
in the midst of all this, have you seen a sword? We're supposed to find some sort of sword here. Yes.
No, I mean, maybe I heard like a third voice out there.
I mean, this is where Eldanar starts like looking around on. Hey, was here? Snaky looking fellow? Just kind of strange looking?
Sure.
And a horse, for that matter.
Eldanar just starts looking indignant. Now, you need to stop. There has
This was some kind of omen. Like, if I could, like, basically just try and, is there some kind of meaning to be made out of all of this, even if it's like abstract and untrue, that I could intuit from my drug trip?
Go ahead and just make a presence check. We'll say that the DR is 14.
Can I throw an omen in to make it 8?
Sure.
I'll just do that just because I really want to succeed. Let's try this. So yeah, I got I got a 2.
Well, an omen well spent. Yeah, as you're struggling to figure out meaning in all of this, and you can hear the echo of some of your little star friends on the outside of the chamber, but for the most part, they've kept themselves out there. But yeah, as you're looking around, nothing seems to call out to you in that way at first, until as the 3 of them are talking, you do look around and you start to almost bracing yourself against the wall. You look and you see to the north that there is another one of those shimmering entrances. Your star friends have somehow bypassed you and begin to glitter and sparkle in the same shape at this entrance, this portal.
Another threshold awaits. And you just hear my voice from amongst the crocodiles, all the alligators, because I've been poking around amongst them. Another portal yawns. Must be the way forward.
Wait, what? Anyone hear that?
Yes.
Yes, there he is.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's our
wait.
companion. He must have filtered the guise of one of those things, and points at one of the crocodiles. He's from over there. He's talking about another portal that we can access.
It's like rude.
Be glad you don't see him. He really is quite an ugly bugger.
It's kind of like rude to not introduce ourselves, right?
I'm
Indeed.
sorry, I didn't. I was.
No, it's cool. I just mean like your friend is just like over there doing stuff, and it's cool. Like you guys are my guests. But like,
well, I am Torvul, late of Dveland, more recently of the dungeons of Gallienbeck. But the less we speak of that, the better. And your name, sir?
I'm Ooth, the Scale Hunter. I've been here for a while. Me and my followers, just come hang out. Do a ritual sacrifice every 3 days. It's all cool.
Eldanar pipes up once he hears ritual sacrifice. And what, pray tell, were you sacrificing? And what day is it? As he steps closer to Abhorred, where he heard Abhorred's voice speak.
You see, he starts to open his robe, exposing his chest, and you see that there's all these little tally marks. It's like 1, 2, 3. It's tomorrow. Don't worry, you're cool.
Cool for now, not so good for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wonderful to meet you. Yes.
Listen. You're one of me. You're one of us. You're riding that Emerald Venom. We're cool. I mean, I still haven't gotten your name yet, but
I am Eldanar, and he starts like posturing as if he's about ready to do a speech, which I'm pretty sure he does not want to do.
all right, cool. Henny, what about you? Dude, I can't see.
I wait amongst the alligators to see what signs might emerge. And I'm talking to my friends, not you. I don't know you. You're a drug addict.
It's a very long name. Well, okay, like you said something about a sword, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, I heard some like weird rumors before I got to this cave that like this is a sepulcher for the swamp witch, right? And she's like buried somewhere in here, but like I haven't really gone farther than the garden, so I'm like not trying to go crazy back there. Things are a little bit weird.
I think they said something about a swamp witch. Yes.
Yeah.
What's this garden you speak about?
Oh well, it's no big, it's just like it's got this, it's just got these ferns. That's it. I only some skulls, ancient symbols, hundreds of them, just all over the walls, weird stuff. I didn't put it there.
But you didn't go beyond this garden.
No. Like the vibes were not right. They were just bad. But I mean, if you all want to go there, I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm just going to tell you to watch out.
Well, is there something dangerous there?
Well, I mean, there might be a swamp witch or other things. I mean, there's got to be a bunch of skulls there for a reason, and me and my crew didn't put them there. We keep our skulls somewhere else.
For the every however many days sacrifice, right?
Yeah, we gotta decorate the chamber one way or another.
And Eldanar starts moving a lot closer to Abhorred, where he heard Abhorred last. So that's good to know. Yes.
Maybe his head kind of pops out from between two particularly large alligators, and he just kind of looks around with his creepy bulging eyes.
Do that.
Don't worry, we can't die. The swamp won't let us. Come hide in the alligators with me.
And he just gets this uncomfortable look on his face, like as opposed to his usual maniac face. Yes, okay, we shall go this way. Torvul, you coming?
I suppose so. Yes, they did say something about letting us go if we can find this damn sword. I suppose we should move onward. I didn't get your name, by the way.
Who, mine?
Oh, yes. Actually, I do think you mentioned it, and I'm afraid it went in one ear and out the other.
Oh.
This Venom,
Yeah, no, it does things, No, Ooth, the scale hunter.
Oof.
Yeah.
It.
Cool. Okay, well, listen, I'm gonna lie down. I'm like out of there right now. I'm like to the moon. But listen, just let me know if you need anything, and don't kill any of my followers. If you do, they'll try to kill you, and that's just gonna be a bad time for everybody.
How do we recognize your followers? Do they have robes like unto yours?
Yeah. They're kind of like robed out like me, but mine are tricked out way better. But they're kind of like mine. They also got some like cool tattoos. Bald. They don't really have my hair. We don't like hair here.
Oh, Eldanar just kind of pats his comb over and all that kind of stuff. Just a question, because I don't think this was answered when we were out there.
Yeah.
How long does this venom last?
I mean, I don't know. I've stayed on it as long as possible.
How long have you been here? Or should we count your tally marks?
Yeah, if you want to. And he lifts up his robe again. But when he does, he unfortunately exposes himself.
And Eldanar pretty much says, that's all right. It looks like enough. So you're saying it lasts for a long time.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
All right. Well, like safe travels. I hope you get that sword or whatever. I guess this is it. Where we part ways. Not awkwardly.
We can't come back the same way?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess you could if you live.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes, yes, yes.
All right. And he just starts to like lay back, and you see that his eyes start to kind of like wander up towards the serpents that are on the ceiling, and he just starts to laugh to himself. But go on.
Let's be on our way.
You just hear whispering in your ear, Torvul. Fucking burnout. You really want to end up like him? You really want to end up like him?
Have you read the damned calendar of Necrobell? What does it matter how any of us end up?
You're so maudlin. And you just hear the clittering, the clapping of hooves. You don't see him, but you just hear the clapping of hooves going away from you.
I think when Abhorred hears the calendar mentioned, his eyes brighten up and he says, "Remember, the basilisk isn't right. The calendar can't come until I'm dead, and I can't die. So the world won't end until I want it to."
And as you begin to make your way towards this other portal with the dancing vulgar stars chittering to each other, you see these like throbbing green vines begin to pour into this hole that they've made, almost guiding you. You see also inside, as you're passing through the tunnel, you see these like fluttering bioluminescent butterflies just swarming around you. They smell delicious for anyone who wants to taste. But you begin to make your way through up into this chamber. And as you enter, the thing that immediately hits you first is the scent of sweat and panic. In the dark of this hall, you can see out in this clearing. This is a relatively smaller clearing than the other one you were just in, but you see a pair of cultists dressed, or they were dressed in similar robes, but they appear to be on these lust-stained blankets, if you will, engaging in certain acts with each other. They look to be very happy about it, but they're also exhausted. You see also 3 metal cages, and containing between them are 5 starved prisoners, all of whom are blindfolded. And even though they're blindfolded, it cannot hide the horror on their face of being trapped in here. And probably most unsettling is on top of each of the cages is a single devotee, all of whom are dressed in gator hide and are watching this copulation happening and very excited about it. Are you all trying to just kind of observe and be stealthy, or what's your plan here?
Yeah, I think if they're engaged in watching, I think Torvul turns to the others and motions to be quiet.
Eldanar will actually pay attention to his wrappings now, and then just make sure that they're tied off and tight, and make sure he's not flapping with like any still soaked pieces of clothing, and just making sure that everything's as tight and close as possible to his body, including his hair. Like he'll actually pull his hood up over his head and try to remain as unassuming as possible.
What about you, Abhorred?
I think Abhorred is just like basically he's more looking for the stars. He's like, this does not concern me, only my friends. This is a distraction. invincible.
All right, so if everyone's trying to be kind of sneaky, or those of you who are trying to be sneaky, go ahead and make me an agility test. The DR on this is going to be, we'll say that everyone's going to be preoccupied by the live show that's being put on here. So we'll just say it's a 14.
I got a 16 again.
Awesome.
11.
Do you want to use an omen or?
Sure. What do I need to do to use one?
You just mark it off on your sheet, and you have the option to, in this case, you can lower the test by 4.
Okay, so since it was 14, there would be
10, so you succeed.
Okay, awesome.
And I got a 15.
Awesome. So all of you managed to sneak into this area, seeing this bizarre ritual sex unfold. But you see all of the vines, those green shimmering vines, are slithering against the wall and pouring themselves into another shimmering portal that the stars have made. This one's all the way to the far left.
Star Road to the omens of the sword.
Quietly now. Let's be on our way.
What's everyone's presence score? What's their modifier?
0.
0?
0.
Okay. James, you're muted.
Sorry, mine's +2.
So as you're making your way towards the left side of the room, aboard, you can see on the edge of one of these soiled blankets appears to be like this very nice, very large, ruby encrusted ring. Looks to be, though maybe commerce isn't your passion, you do have a bit of a sense of appraisal, and you could tell that this is probably worth about 200 silver.
It reminds me of a particularly baleful red star in the sky that I like to watch through my eyelids while I'm asleep. So I'm going to take it because it's shiny.
All right. So for that, I'm going to have you make another agility check. This one's going to be really hard, though. So that's going to be a 16 for the DR.
I got a 12, so I might use another omen to bring it down to to below 212. I think it would be. Yeah, 12.
Yeah. Well, meets it beats it. So tell me how you managed to snatch this ring while these cultists are on the lookout. Well, supposed to be on the lookout, but are watching something else unfold.
I hum a melody in a dead language to the ring, and I croon to it, and it slips itself into my fingers, and I laugh, and I have this like nasty scar that runs down one side of my torso where one of my lungs used to be, and I put the ring inside the cavity where my lung used to be, and then do the stitches up and laugh and caper off.
Fabulous. And as a board rushes back to the rest of you, you see that the roots lead you into this hallway going down to the left side of the cavern, the chamber rather. And as you do, it's once again dark, but you can hear a few different noises coming from the other side of this longer hallway. The most prominent seems to be the sound of giggling and whispering. Seems to be singular. But amidst that, you also hear tiny chirping, tiny squeaking. You all head into the chamber, or?
Can we peek
A
around?
barrister, is that you?
No, it's not me. I don't giggle.
And if Eldanar hears that, I mean, he's gonna be like, "Why do you keep talking to something that's not there? Are you seeing things?"
I'm hardly the only one, am I?
I have no evidence that either of you exist. You could be a hallucination, but I still talk to you. I'm that kind of guy.
We need to talk philosophy at another time, not now. And then, we'll kind of, if there's a way to peek around a corner or whatever, then, Eldanar will do it. To try to see what's ahead.
Mm-hmm. Torvul, you have some really weird friends. As Eldanar, as you start to kind of peek around the corner, you can see, you see a hooded figure, one of the devotees, one of the same kind of hooded figures who was on top of the cages in the other room that you just left. You see that they're sitting on top of this old grime-covered stone altar, and seated in their lap is this rusty cage full of vermin, rats, and birds and pigeons and all that. You see that he's giggling and whispering to himself. Given your religious background, you would know this to be a heretical psalm, something that is preaching about the correct way to eat fruit. And as he's doing so, he begins to pluck out a rat one by one, kind of dangling them, and then flings it into the air. And as he does, you see the trajectory of this rat, and you see that it begins to fall towards a very large open pit. And as it falls in, you can get a sense that maybe it's a pretty deep pit, as it takes a rather long time for there to be another sound, and it's the sound of hissing serpents echoing in response. And this devotee just seems to be pretty happy, just hanging out, feeding his snake friends. The other thing that you do notice, though, is at the northern wall, you see a giant, massive snake's head with a vertical mouth. Doesn't seem to have noticed you, but it is there. What do you all do?
Baby's in the pit, but then a gigantic snake head on the northern wall.
Basically, yeah.
Live snake head.
It appears to be, yeah.
Fun.
Seems to be watching almost approvingly at this cultist who is just feeding the snakes.
I mean, Eldanar wants to go in and sing the song that he's singing, but the big
What do you see around there?
Someone who believes as devoutly as I do, but feeding little babies of a gigantic snake god, evidently. So, yes.
Serpents seem to be something of a theme in this bloody place, yes. Although the first one we encountered was helpful enough, delightful almost.
Well, this person that's feeding the babies, I suppose, could share my thoughts on the important matters of the world, but I don't know if that's enough to get us past what he is entertaining at the moment. We could try, or we could, well, I guess there's no other place to go. Do we see, or did I see any other portal around the way?
No, you just
lines
see the head, but you also do see at the south, towards this the southwestern wall. You do see another opening. This one is not magical though. This one just appears to be carved out.
There's another way out there, but we have to get past the big snakehead first. Ugh.
Board, what are you doing?
I think Abhorred is giggling because he has this idea he's going to run out and show them the picture of the hooded skeleton, like a Rorschach test, and say, "What do you think of when you see this image?"
Is that what you do?
I think he might be getting ready to do it, and maybe it might be up to Eldanar and Torvul to convince him not to do it.
But does he say anything about it? I was really holding it in. I was really trying. Does he say anything, or is he going to do Leroy Jenkins and just do it?
How big is this painting he's bringing out from?
I think it's like a devotional, like an Orthodox icon, like inside a triptych, and it opens up, and you can go like, surprise.
What are you doing with that thing?
It's a picture of my friend Death, but he's promised that he will leave because the stars have said I do not die, so he is only a threat to others, and I want to see if this individual would like to have a greater conversation with my friend.
Eldanar will kind of hold Abhorred back and say, I don't think it's the person that you're going to be concerned about. It's the rather large snakehead that's in the room as well, and may not be impressed with this interpretation of death.
Snake is obviously symbolic. It's not real. It's an omen. It's only there because we're high on snake venom.
Normally,
He has a point.
Normally, I would be happy to debate the existential crisis we all find ourselves in. But in this case, I don't know if you want to be in the gullet of something much larger than yourself.
Abhorred, as you're hearing this, your mind is starting to drift off and your eyes start to wander down to your triptych. And you just see the little smiling face of Death in there saying, come on, you know you want to do it. Just do it.
Okay, Death. Okay. Today's a good day, Death. You've been hiding behind the triptych for too long. It's time for everyone to see your beautiful face. Let's do it. Let's do it, Death.
All right. Well, with that, I think it's a good place to take a quick 10. So we'll see what happens when we come back. All right. I'll see everybody. 10. All right.
Okay.
All right. So we're back. And Abhorred, your beautifully rendered image of Death has just said, show me off. What are you going to do?
Okay, Death. You know that you and I have some road yet to travel. Let's see if we can show this individual your beautiful face. And then I'll turn to the others and say, I have an idea for a distraction. It's called showing the man a portrait of his death.
He might consider it a threat. Just wait a second. And then Eldanar looks for a child-sized rock in the vicinity to see if he can make this meet.
Yeah, there's actually, I'll say that there's something in this hallway that is about the size of maybe a toddler.
Okay. And then, just do a D4.
Yeah.
See how much. Oh, nice. Okay, so 4.
What'd you get? Nice.
4.
Right, so what are you doing now?
So like I kind of just hold Abhorred back. All right, if you want to truly do this, let's go in at least with something that's also a peace offering, more of a here, in replacement for perhaps letting us leave that place instead of being this. So Eldanar will hold up the pile of meat, the burnt, chewy meat that he now has, and says, all right, now I think we can go in. And then, you present the art, I present the food. It's great.
I like it. The omen of his doom will be more piquant with the taste of charred flesh in his mouth.
Something of a plan, yes. Something. But yes.
Did I really see what I thought I just saw? Or is the venom working its way through me?
Eldanar kind of turns back over his shoulder a little bit and looks at you with a raised eyebrow and goes, "Why? Did you see a horse?"
Looks like the bloody remains of some, yes.
This can do this. I was going to help feed us later, but I think this is a more important situation. And so, he kind of ushers Abhorred into the room with the devoted follower and the big snakehead. So, and then he'll actually introduce himself. I present to you, devoted one, and then he holds up the meat.
The figure on the altar immediately lifts its head up, and you see these glazed over green eyes, and it hisses, and as it does, it extends its tongue, and you see that it's been surgically split. Not with the most hygienic of tools, and it maybe didn't heal very well, but it is forked in a way. And he looks up and clutches the cage to its body, just hissing at you.
No, we are not here to usurp your station. No, this is to help you. And then kind of looking askance at the big snake head in the other wall. So.
And I think Torvul is kind of back behind them, trying to edge through. We're just passing through on our way to the garden.
The garden? What's in the garden?
Ferns.
The ferns? What are you doing here? You see that it starts to sniff you and still cradling the cage and gets itself closer to you, Abhorred, since you were the one running out with your portrait of your triptych of death itself. Oh, I'm so sorry. Where are my manners? I'm Jerithicus. I didn't realize that we had new recruits. Well, that's what you're here for, right? I mean, that's why you have the venom.
Yes. Torvul. And this wretch is Eldanar.
Eldanar?
And I'm not sure I caught your name.
Mine or?
No. My other companion here had some long-winded name.
My name roughly translates to Abhorred reigns the flesh, and I have a wondrous image here hidden behind this triptych for you, my good sir.
And I bring the offerings of this meat to celebrate the God that we all worship. Although my philosophy on peeled fruit is also gaining traction as well in the outside.
Don't start on about the fruit again.
She's talking about the fruit again. You have to stop her, please.
He doesn't care about the fruit.
He did!
Give him the meat.
I heard the chanting. He was talking about the fruit, how it is beautifully eaten the way it's supposed to be, as in the etiology. And then will present the meat.
And is this fresh meat or is it rotting meat?
It is burnt, chewy meat. That is how it's described.
Okay. The cultist, Jerithicus, sniffs it and kind of recoils a bit. It's been cooked. Why would you bring cooked meat here and offer it to me?
I thought it was a good idea.
Dehydrated, perhaps, but cooked. I mean, jerky is one thing, but this is well done too. You start to see that he starts to like pick apart the meat.
You see, I told you. Ridiculous. I'm sorry about this. There's been some kind of misunderstanding.
I tried. And then he Eldanar will just be like, he dumps it, and then he thinks he's aiming for the floor, but because of his weird ass like undulating hands, he actually dumps it in the pit.
When you do that, the devotee almost throws the cage of vermin to the side as he rushes towards the edge and like looks down. Oh no, they're not going to be. They're going to be so upset about this. Why would you do that? You're not one of us. You've stolen that venom. And with that, his eyes start to glaze over again, and you hear this kind of rattling sound, even though there's no snake with rattle around. You just hear it ambiently. And with that, he starts to turn towards you, Eldanar, and he removes a dagger from out of his vestments, brandishes it towards you. And I think I'm going to have y'all roll some initiative. First, let me see who's going to go first. All right, so it looks like Jerithicus is going to get to go first. So the way that we do this is for initiative. In this kind of instance, it's a battle of a d6, and 1 through 3 enemies will go first, and 4 through 6 the players will go first. I rolled a 1, so the cultist is going to go first. For individual initiative, you are just going to determine that by your agility plus a d6. So just roll a d6 and add your agility modifier, and we'll determine who goes first that way.
I rolled a 6, bring him into a 7.
Okay. Fabulous. You're lucky that there's no fumble on initiative rolls.
I got a 2 with the -2 for my agility.
Love it. Gotta love it. All right. Well, Jerithicus is going to go first. And since you are the one who threw that wretched smoky meat at him, that well-done steak, probably put some ketchup on it too, you heretic. He's going to go ahead and launch at you with that dagger. So I need you to make an agility roll. The DR is going to be 12. And then if you have armor, you can subtract that number from the DC or the DR.
Oh, it says minus D2?
Yes.
Okay. I swear this is probably why I don't play any OSR games anymore. Okay, what am I doing?
What did you roll?
5. I rolled a 5.
Fabulous. I love to hear that. I love to see it. So I need you to make a toughness test. The DR is going to be 10.
D20 still?
Yes.
3 + 1 is 4.
I love it. So you take 3 points of damage as this forked, like snake tongue dagger drives into your chest, and you feel this surge. And it's similar to the emerald venom that you felt earlier when you were poisoned with that, but that stinging sensation does not leave you. You can use an omen if you want to cut through some of that, but otherwise you are poisoned.
And I'm also at -1 hit points, so I'm not sure what that means.
Well, you can use an omen. And in this case, you can re-roll a dice roll, mine or yours, or someone else's. I didn't really actually roll a dice, so there you go.
Okay.
Actually, you would be able to roll back the damage if you wanted to. You could it could end up in a higher damage, which probably isn't the best thing.
No.
You can also lower damage dealt to you by d6.
Okay. Let me do that. So, lowering omen, and then d6 by 2.
All right. So that where were you at with that?
So,
That
basically,
leaves you with 1 hit point, right?
yeah, I got 1.
Awesome. Well, hey, listen, you're poisoned with 1 hit point. Things could be worse.
True.
So with your poison, you become kind of infected and drowsy. So the difficulty of all attack and defense tests is now +2 for the next 4 hours.
May not survive that long, but you know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right. So next we've got. So that was Jerithicus's turn, and so now we have Torvul. Right? You rolled a 7, or you have a 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think Torvul just pulls his short sword and tries to rush Jerithicus, trying to end this before he can raise the alarm or summon help in any other way. So
yeah, go ahead and roll strength. The DR is 12.
Okay, let's see. I rolled a 6, so that's not so good.
No, that is not. And unfortunately, as you swing, tell me how you miss.
Yeah, I think the sword gets caught in the sheath as Torvul is trying to pull it out. It's kind of it's almost rusted into the scabbard. He hasn't drawn it in so long, and Jerithicus kind of looks around as and sees him trying to pull the sword free. And by the time he's done so, Jerithicus is completely ready for the attack that comes toward him and sidesteps it easily.
Awesome. All right, Eldanar, I believe it's your turn.
That's a good question. I mean, he has a knife of his own, but let's see.
A poison knife too.
I'm sorry?
A poison knife too.
I mean, it wasn't labeled poison, but okay.
Oh wait, mine or yours?
No, I put down poison like to write the condition somewhere. I didn't see.
Got it. Okay, gotcha.
Condition.
Yep.
So yeah, no, this is just a plain old knife.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you know what? He's gonna be a little bit nuts, and he's gonna pull out his knife and then try to attack back.
Okay, and remember, you've got certain abilities too. I mean, you've got the owl, right? So if you want things to help you, like,
oh, true,
just invoke them, and I'll fit them in.
Okay, too quick to hit. I have to persuade him though. Do I have to persuade him first?
Yeah.
He's bitter, reluctant, and hypersensitive. So,
yeah.
Come out, you recalcitrant owl. He's not good with convincing. Although, how the hell did I do that? I got a 12.
12
Damn.
On the
Presence.
attack roll? Presence.
Oh,
okay.
Presence test to get him to
all right.
to do
Yeah.
that.
With that, you hear this fluttering high above your head, and you see on a nearby rock that's like this small like overhang in this chamber. You see this haggard looking barn owl. See that it has like a one like leather eye patch over it. You again?
Yes.
Come from my other eye, have you?
I'm being attacked. Please help.
Good. You deserve it.
Help.
And what is the help on that?
please attack this
Okay.
guy. And he points him out. So attacks are DR8 and claw and bite attack of D4.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead and roll to attack with your owl. Yeah, he is reluctant, of course, but he'll go in.
Okay. Okay, that's a 3 and a 1 for claws and bite.
Yeah, I don't think that hits, unfortunately.
Okay.
Let me just double check. I'm not super familiar with owl. If you actually wouldn't mind posting it in chat,
I will try.
if you can.
Let me see.
Otherwise, I'll try to find it.
Got it. Hold on. Just got to pull down the downloads. Oh, really? Okay. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that you got them.
Yes, let me just double check.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got you. All right. Yeah, and you said that. So you said that you rolled a 3 and a 1.
Mm-hmm. On
Okay.
a D4. Yep.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like those hit.
Okay.
How does you tell me? How does this owl come swooping in? How does it miss?
I mean, he's already been reluctant to do so, and so instead of being like all, scary with wide, wingspan and just the usual like ferocity that you would see from a nocturnal avian. Basically, he's just kind of like, and then like if the bird could grunt and moan, this would be what this Hegelian owl is doing, and just kind of like, and then half-hearted attempt.
Mads, did you roll a d20 to hit?
Oh no, I did not.
Okay, so you got to roll a d20.
Got it. Sorry.
Yeah. Because this will be very different. What was it? Okay, yeah, still doesn't hit. So that still stands.
Now you know why I don't play OSR games anymore.
Hey, listen, that's half the fun, right? All right, well, that was your turn. Abhorred Reigns, you are up.
I know exactly what I'm going to do. Well, if it's Jerithicus?
Jerithicus, yeah.
Jerithicus, while he's distracted by
Jerry
the
for
owl,
short.
Jerry. Well, Jezza is distracted by the owl. I'm going to stand between him and the pit. Then I'm going to open my triptych and say, "Behold your friend." And hope he stumbles back and falls into the pit or something weird happens.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Let's figure that out. Let's go ahead and are you just trying to use this as presence, or are you trying to forcefully use the triptych to shove him?
Yeah, I mean, I could do both. Like, the two aren't mutually exclusive. I think presence, though, realistically, because that's, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So go ahead and roll a presence.
Okay. Oh, that's my good one. What's the target?
We'll say that the target, because it's a little bit more difficult, we'll say it's going to be 14.
Oh, I got a 20. I got a crit.
Ooh, let's see what crits do. Crits do things that are special. So with a crit, your attack, it does twice the damage and armor. Their armor protection is reduced by 1 tier. Since this is kind of an improvised weapon, so to speak, we'll just say that it is a D4 of damage. So go ahead and roll D4 twice.
Three. Oh, twice, sorry. 3 and a 4.
That's a 7, right? Math? All right. Yeah, that's a tell me how he reacts when you expose him to this.
I think he screams and hisses when he looks at the figure of death and like staggers backwards towards the hole, and he looks like his eyes are bleeding.
Yeah, he begins to retch back towards the pit, not falling in completely, but definitely like it's like almost trying to scrape away the image of this effigy from his eyes. But with that, it's now Jerry's turn. And Jerry, he's not happy about that. And seeing as how you were the one that really laid into him, he's going to go ahead and just violently spit at you with his viper spit. So that's going to be a agility test from Abhorred, DR 12.
Let's give that a go. Oh, that's not bad. I got a 15.
All right, awesome. So you watch as the spit flies just past your head and then splashes across into the wall behind. You see it just starts to sizzle and smoke. But that's his turn. It's going to be Torvul. You're up.
Yeah, now that he's distracted, Torvul will see if he can bring that sword into action more effectively this time.
All right, let's go.
I rolled a 6 again. So yeah, I think Torvul just kind of staggers past him, ineffectually trying to pierce him with a short sword and missing entirely.
Now, if there's anything that you want Barrister to do for you or with you, you can totally call that out. Just because I'm controlling him as an NPC doesn't mean that you can't use that mechanically.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what he actually does. Let me just take a real quick look. Yeah,
I'm looking it up too.
Plus
So
2 to
the
presence
barrister is a magical, intelligent, arrogant, and vain. He can also talk. If you can persuade him to care, the barrister occasionally adds +2 to presence test. So nothing that you could really do in this instance, but just good to know. But with that, it's going to be Eldanar's turn.
All right, so poisoned and the owl was completely ineffectual, and she just shakes his head. But I mean, I'm sure like the Hegelian owl is giving me a look as well. Oh yeah. All right, so yeah, at this point, Eldanar's just gonna pull out his knife and give it the good old, old school, old philosopher's try.
All right. So just remember, there's a +2 to all of your tests because you are poisoned.
Right. Okay. So, yeah. Just using a plain old. Oh my goodness! Wow. All right. So an 18. Am I adding anything to this?
18. Yeah, you're adding your strength.
So then 17.
Unfortunately, given his Gatorhood investment at a D4 to his armor, that is not going to hit. So let me just math. I'm an art student. No, that doesn't hit.
What if I added an omen?
You can certainly add an omen.
Okay. Might well just blow it through. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then what does that do to the roll?
So you can lower the DR by 4.
Okay.
You can re-roll a dice. You can yeah, those would be the 2 that would be appropriate for this.
Would the DR lowered by 4 get him to hit?
Yes. So
Okay.
I'd say that the DR was originally 12, but minus the 4 because of the armor. But then you negate that, and then you have a +2, so that's 14. So yes, you would hit.
Okay. So rolling D4 damage. 4.
Tell me how you finish it.
So after getting poisoned, Jerry pretty much like kind of shows, and especially when Torvul was trying to whip past and trying to hit him as well, Jerry had ended up showing like a little bit of a weak point in his armor, like a seam or like where it's separated in the pieces. And so Eldanar took the advantage and decided to stick him in there and try to, use his knife in a bare area. So.
And that you do. And Abhorred, are you chanting?
Yes, I'll chant.
In the pit. In the pit.
All right. Do you kick him in the pit or?
Yes. Well, no. If Eldanar doesn't, I will.
No, I mean, basically, Eldanar's just desperately trying to hold on to his knife so it doesn't go in the pit with him.
And when Abhorred, when you kick this limp cultist body into the snake pit, you can see now, though it's very hard to tell, it's actually kind of basing it mostly on sound. The time it takes for you to hear the body hit the ground is about 20 feet. And you can hear the writhing of serpents down there as well. Torvul, you hear something different though. That's how you kill.
I'm a little out of practice.
It shows.
Well, perhaps if you'd show yourself, I could take a bloody run at you.
You did that a few times already. It still doesn't work.
Yes, my bad luck.
And with that, you just hear the kind of drifting. You feel this kind of like breeze waft over you, and you hear the clattering of the hooves drifting away. And though you can't see it, you definitely get the sense from the way that wind hits you. It's as if like his tail just swatted you in the face as hard as possible. But yeah, you are now alone in this pit, aside from the giant snakehead to the northern wall.
Is the snakehead doing anything?
No, it just looks to be watching you.
I think Abhorred is. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say Torvul just kind of makes a non-aggressive gesture as possible and starts to edge toward the exit.
I think Abhorred is like staring into the pit saying,
I've heard that in some religions, snakes are a kind of prognostication. Maybe if we look at their wiggling and slithering, we will get an omen of the stars.
As you're approaching Torvul, the mouth doesn't open. And again, it's this vertical mouth. It's almost like the eyes are on its side, but otherwise the snake head has been placed on its side and its mouth is in a vertical position. But as you approach it, its eyes open and start to burn with this green light. And its mouth doesn't open, but you hear in your head, who approaches? Do you not speak?
Me?
Yes.
This is me hearing this? Sorry.
Yeah, that's you hearing it in your head.
I'm Torvul.
Let it be known that Ooth has forbidden any of his cultists from going further. Are you a cultist? Are you a member of Ooth, the Scalemaker's flock? I'm sorry, the Scale Hunter.
I'm merely an acquaintance of his.
Yes, but for the specifics of this certain ritual, are you a cultist?
No, I'm not.
Fantastic. And you see the mouth start to part open, revealing a passage.
You see? Very simple.
The path of the stars awaits through the mouth of the snake, and all we had to do was murder a man to death.
I suppose your prediction that death could not touch did not apply to him then.
Only I cannot die. And maybe you, if you stand close enough to me.
And then Eldanar's singing to himself after looking at the body way, way down. Existential crisis! Ah, and we didn't even get to talk about the peeled fruit! Damn it.
He was clearly a fruit heretic, Eldanar. He wouldn't have liked learning his beliefs about fruit.
I suppose not. And he begrudgingly, puts his knife away and then follows Torvul towards the passageway.
Are you still going on about fruit? And you
Who's-
see that your owl is just
Oh.
perched on top of the snake head.
It is the only thing to go on about. It is the most important thing to go on about. Bloody owl.
Yes, rather. And yes, so do the rest of you follow Torvul into the snakehead?
Yes.
All right.
I think I'll also give Eldanar a little vial of red liquid from my medicine chest and say,
This will stop the burning.
and it's like a D6 health recovery.
Ooh, okay. Is that like gonna help take care of the poison condition, or?
No, only infections and bleeding.
Oh.
But it'll you can drink it if you're gonna die.
Okay. All right. Healing potion. Yay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. So as you all pass through the snakehead, the mouth closes behind you, just in time for your owl to sneak in through, following you. But this chamber that forks at you as you're entering, it would be pitch black if not for all of these bioluminescent flowers that are growing from the ceiling in this dull green light. It's illuminating what would otherwise be a very pitch black chamber. You see that the chamber forks to the northeast. You also see, as Ooth had described earlier, hundreds and hundreds of ancient symbols carved into the walls. Many of the surface of the walls, you see these multitude of writhing green vines, almost like veins. You see them coursing throughout the different walls and surfaces of this cave. And also, as Ooth mentioned, there are several hundreds of skulls buried on the floor. Most of them appear to be human, though there are some that are larger and more like a violet color. Some of them have 3 eye sockets with a mouth capable of swallowing a man whole. For those of you who are tripping, which would be all 3 of you, you see that these symbols are shifting on the walls, shimmering, undulating, as I like to say. Are any of you like kind of carefully looking them over or just trying to get your bearings?
I think I will. I'll be staring at them and maybe licking them.
Okay. Now, as you're looking the different contours and lines of these carved markings, you're getting a sense of what they actually mean, what they spell. You see, it's this strange alphabet, and as you're tasting the words, you find that they read, "The eternal avatar here guards, protecting both those above and below from famine, plague, war, death, and extinction." As you take in that last word, this giant bud begins to crown through these vines on the wall. And as it emerges, it begins to expand and open up into another one of these portals.
The Star Road continues. Jump into the flower. Jump, jump.
This is actually amazing. He is leading us with this philosophy of stars. How?
Yes. And Ooth said the cultists will not venture past this garden. If we move past here, they won't be following us.
True.
Come on.
All right. Yeah, so, I mean, if Abhorred is going first and jumping on his star path, then yeah, sure. I mean, it seems to be the easiest way to go.
So as you're all following aboard, you crawl into this flower, and it's very sticky and tight, and everything's kind of, it's like being inside of the throat of a snake. You just kind of feel the walls crushing against you as you're trying to squish your way through. You feel the slickness of the humidity of this cave just clinging to your bodies. But as you begin to emerge, you see more of that dull green color, this time on the ground below, though, as you watch as these ferns, once hidden, are now waving and swaying as you approach. You see them furling and unfurling, and they seem to almost respond to the way that you move. So like when you move close to a cluster, they tend to unfurl and allow space for you to walk.
I'm going to caper through them.
As you're capering through, you see on the east wall, there appears to be a pile of ghostly dead ethereal snakes. If anyone's ever seen like a National Geographic special of what it basically a snake ball is, it's what's happening over there on this eastern wall.
But they're dead.
Yes.
Come on. Let's move past this place.
Are you
Such
approaching?
wonders. I do not wish to touch the snakes.
You can stop for these snakes if you wish. I'm getting out of here.
My friends, wait. Follow the star road. Follow.
You, Eldanar, what are you doing?
Yeah, I'm following through as well. I mean, just kind of going past because, I mean, unless it's actually actively attacking us, I don't think Eldanar is really concerned about it. Because now it just feels like we are on the path to trying to find this sword. And so,
Are you digging through the stakes at all, or are you just kind of like bypassing them?
kind of bypassing them. I mean,
Okay.
if he doesn't have to, he won't.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
Capering. Always capering. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Torvul's just heading swiftly further way
Okay.
past here, so that the cultists aren't following us any if we made too much noise.
Yeah. You see that the way that it funnels towards the east, it becomes very tight and small again, to the point where you have to flatten yourselves in between both of these walls to just squeeze yourselves in. Eldanar, as you begin to enter, you see your owl flutter down onto the ground and just look up at you. You don't expect me to go through that, do you?
And you will be doing what if you don't go through here?
I'll find another way in. And he just flutters off away.
Recalcitrant owl. And he'll make his, squish his way forward.
Yeah. Torvul, you hear as you're waiting to enter. That owl really has the right idea.
Oh yes, and what do you suggest, Barbarista?
It's not too late to turn back. This is very foolish that what you're doing, what you are doing, what they're doing.
What do I gain by turning back in the bloody prison again?
Honestly, it's not the worst place for you.
And a rope at the end of it, if I'm lucky.
Honestly, it's not the worst place for you.
Some help you are.
Sigh. And when he says sigh, you can tell that he's imitating the owl, and you hear him clop off in the same direction the owl went. But as you begin to squeeze your way through, on the other side, there's this dampness, there's just coldness. And Eldanar, are you the one leading the charge, or who's the front of this march?
I think Torvul was maybe the keenest to get out of here.
Okay. Well, then Torvul, then, as you begin to emerge on the other side, the first thing that strikes you is the unnatural silence of this chamber. The only thing that you can hear are your own footsteps, your own body scraping against the stone, the heart and the blood that's still within. But as you there are that sigh of life, you see that there are pieces, what look to be at first just pieces of dead wood, roughly the shape of and size of humans. You see now with these venom coated eyes that they appear to be almost like dryads, but writhing and coiling in the intricacies of these vines that are covering the walls and floor. You also see that these letters, you've deciphered them, not maybe in the same way that that Abhorred has, though Abhorred, if you do wish to lick these letters into understanding them, you totally can. But essentially what they say is, without cost, no wish comes true. Make a pledge unwilling, and reality bends for you. Stay then silent. As you all remember from your briefing before you got here, you remember there was rumor of this dead root altar and how it could grant wishes. How are you reacting to this, seeing this?
This is obviously what the stars wanted me to find. Maybe in an omen of some kind, I can discern what kind of sacrifice will get us the sword.
Yeah, I think Torvul is the silence in this room is convincing him that he doesn't want to break it, but he's just enthralled by these wood nymphs or whatever these creatures are. But he starts to edge toward the altar.
Eldanar is actually overwhelmed by the silence of this place. I mean, he's used to having his big mouth shooting off for mostly no apparent reason. And he doesn't want, as Torvul, he doesn't want to break it because there's something very sinister to him about it, and he's just trying to take in the message from the altar and trying to puzzle that out.
As Abhorred is licking the roots, and as Torvul is kind of going over and ogling these dryads, Eldanar, you hear something. It bubbles up from a whisper into this screech in your head. You can tell it's in your head. It's not coming from anywhere around you. And the screeching dies down until you hear a voice call out to you. This is where dreams come true. Don't you have dreams, Eldanar?
I'm not sure. He's not sure if he's actually voicing it in his head or if he's actually speaking out loud. But he'll say, I dream of kingdom downfall. The peeled fruit is merely that metaphor. It needs to be taken sideways and upside down to bring this whole thing crashing down upon itself. That is what I dream.
Dreams can become reality in this place. I have made many dreams come true upon this altar.
What is the price?
Forgo the hunt of my Zweihander. It's unimportant. when compared to the goals that you have in mind for yourself and for the rest of the world. Make this change possible. Give the altar blood from someone who does not wish to be made a sacrifice. The choice is yours.
And Eldanar comes out from this, I mean, it's not vision, but I mean like this oral, like, encompassing in his head, and actually will look slowly at who's closest, whether it be Torvul or Abhorred.
Well, as you're trying to figure that out, Abhorred, a similar rising of screeching and falling of whispers descends into your head. Pale One, I know you have desires, dreams, wishes. What do you wish most of all?
I was born of an egg in the swamp. Alienated from this world, I have never fit in. My life has been great suffering, but I will not die. I simply wish to be completed, to be whole. And in this form I currently inhabit, I will never, ever be content.
My swamp child. I know what that's like. I have lived in these swamps for centuries. I have died here too. I can give you what you want, what you ask for, what you most desire. All you need to do is spill blood on that altar, blood that doesn't wish to be spilled. What say you?
What would you say if I said that I had other friends up in the sky who say that it is your blood that should be spilled, for you are not willing, and they will bring me to the heavens?
I would call them foolish.
All your talk, you too can die. Only I am immortal.
We may test that yet. And Torvul, similarly, that screeching that settles into this ethereal whispering echoes in your head. Torvul, man of passion and power, a man of desires. Tell me your desires. Tell me your wishes.
I desire what anyone desires. A comfortable bed, someone to share it with, a bottle of wine, purse of coin.
Do you wish to be returned to your life of luxury? I can make that happen. This Zweihander is mine and mine alone, and it is not worth your lives, but that life that you want, that return to your station, the one that is owed to you, can be made possible. Spill blood on that altar with that dagger, blood from those who do not wish to be bled, and I will give you what you ask. At this point, the whispering stops in your heads, and the three of you are there in this silent chamber. What's going on?
Barrister, did you hear that? What do you think?
Do it. I'm sick of this. Sick of your whining. I'm sick of you stinking. If this gets you a shower, I will kill a dozen people. Or make you kill a dozen people because I don't have a corporeal form. Don't you remember baths? Epsom salts, lavender, please.
I remember them well enough. I wonder. It seems too easy. There are very few stories where it turns out that the noble hero was wise to trust the word of a swamp witch.
Now the rest of you can hear him talking and saying this. How are you? You can't hear Barbarister, but you can hear him. How do you take this?
I think Abhorred just starts laughing and says, the one who least wants to die is the one that asks us to sacrifice. It is them that should be sacrificed.
Eldanar has been stock still in a solid A stance, listening to this whisper of promise, and he raises his eyes and looks slowly again from Torvul to Abhorred, and then when he hears Torvul talking, he's looking from below his brow, and then he will, not subtly, he will pull his knife from his belt and then have it at his side. Are you going to be trying to make the promise real? Making your dreams come true then?
You see, you misunderstand, Eldanar. I'm not an unwilling victim. Because
oh no,
that
I
would
wasn't
imply
looking.
that...
I was not looking at you, Abhorred. I was looking at Torvul.
Oh, it's good because I can't die, so I'm not afraid of it, so you can't sacrifice me.
Again, existential crisis there, but we have our unwilling sacrifice right here. And he gestures to Torvul with his open hand.
You're a fool if you think the witch will give you anything for sacrificing me. I have no intention of doing what she says. Or what that bloody horse says, for that matter.
Oh, would you come on?
I would almost want to stick this knife in you, just to prove that this is real and not this bloody horse that you keep rolling on about.
I want shampoo and conditioner.
Much good it will do you in your state.
I mean for you.
Yes, well, they cropped my hair somewhat when they threw me in that pit. But if we do what they say, and we are let free, I can buy my way back to the life I had. It's better than relying on the word of some witch who lives in a swamp.
What promise do you have that they're actually telling the truth? They just as easily imprisoned us and told us to do this and rolled us in the dirt and the water. How do you know that they're not going to just take this sword and then, well, take us out with it? How do you know?
I don't know anything, but I'll trust them over a witch who lives in a swamp.
My mother was a witch who lives in a swamp. Not this one,
exactly.
But are you talking bad things about my mother? You should. She was a bitch.
Precisely.
Abhorred. When you say that, your eyes, as they often do, sort of drift, and your eyes wander, or at least one of your eyes wanders over towards the northwestern corner of this room, and you can see that there are this fluttering of moths just hovering at this entrance leading into another chamber.
My friends are trying to tell us that sacrificing each other on this ulcer is not the solution. Let's see what the moths have to tell us.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Eldanar.
Are you listening to the moths? We need to listen to them.
Eldanar.
Eldanar gets that he has the knife still at his side, and he lowers his head to listen.
Certain death awaits you if you follow them. Do what you need to do to survive and to spread the gospel amongst the world.
Put that knife away, Eldanar.
Even at the price of the kingdom downfall, will that happen? Will that happen? The kingdom.
Yes. Blood must be spilled.
He's listening. You can see that he's in a posture of listening and his head is down. But the knife has not dropped or been raised at either of you.
Think of
yet.
all the food, all the fruit. Think of it. It's the teeth of the world biting into it improperly.
Eldanar's head starts to go unnaturally crooked as he's hearing it and thinking about it.
You can hear the crunch, the heretical crunch of teeth gnashing through the flesh of those melons. Death to those who don't peel kiwis before they eat them.
Eldanar raises his head with his eyes closed and screams, "Death to those who don't have the peeled fruit correctly!" And then he will slice his arm open with his own knife and then jump into the place that Abhorred indicated.
Oh, through the okay. All right. Well, as you were leading this charge, the first thing that greets you is this ring of 13 massive obelisks that tower over all of you. Each of them is covered in carvings of coiling snakes. And as you step in, each of those carvings, the eyes of these snakes begin to illuminate with that green light. In the center is a 7-foot-long sarcophagus. But there's not a lid. There doesn't seem to be any lid anywhere in sight. And the moths that were lingering in this passage have become this cloud that's circling about a good foot over the opening of the sarcophagus. For those of you who are still hallucinating, you see just this whirlwind of colors, most of them previously unknown and alien to all of you. You hear the droning noise of hundreds of souls screaming in this ultra slow motion that fills the room. Almost with every beating wing of these moths, you hear these souls crying out. You see tentacles of pulsing light grow from the sarcophagus towards the corridors that you just entered from. Most alarmingly, though, you see descending from the ceiling and hovering 2 feet above the open sarcophagus, you see the moths part as a scraggy figure dressed in a green robe descends. Instead of skin, she is covered in multicolored scales that are even more brilliant than colors that you'd previously known on the outside. Where her head should be is just black smoke and 2 diamond bright eyes. On her back, you see it, a shining great sword longer than she is. The Lunar Zweihander, and you know this to be the Swamp Witch of legend. Have you come to die then? You all hear telepathically in your minds.
I suppose we have. And Torvul looks to Eldanar and Abhorred to see if they're with him.
I mean, Eldanar's thrown himself into this place like with a bleeding arm. So, and he's got his knife out. So,
I think Abhorred is going to laugh and say,
You know, for someone who professes to be a sorceress, a witch, you seem awfully afraid of your own mortality. Perhaps you should look into the face of death.
then I'm going to open up the triptych.
There's just stone cold silence when you do that. I am eternal. And with that, let's go ahead and roll some initiative. And with a 2, the Swamp Witch will go first. So everyone roll your initiative individually. It's going to be agility plus a d6.
A 4.
All right.
4 as well.
All right. I'll let you two decide who goes between whom. And I'm sorry, what was that, Matt?
a 0.
A 0. Fantastic. Great. So with that, she doesn't even lift her arms as much as the Lunar's Vihander just levitates off of her back and then is now at her side. She doesn't move her arms, though the sword is definitely being brandished as if arms are holding it. And she lunges at you. Say she'll lunge at you, Abhorred, since you were the one brandishing death in her face. So I need you to roll agility.
That's a wonderful one to roll with a -2. What's my target? Just 12, is it?
It's gonna be 12.
Well, I got a 4, so yes, no. That's
All right. Do you want to use any omens?
yeah, I absolutely. But I think I'll probably wait. I don't know how much damage could I. Yeah, no, I'm going to use my omen. What's the point of having them if I don't use the
Exactly,
for
you only
something
get
like
once.
this? Yeah, so I'm just going to roll again. Oh, you tricksy dice, you better not. Oh, it's gonna be. Yeah, no, that's even worse actually. So, the stars have decided that now is my time to die.
Yeah. So you take 3 points of damage as this. I don't want to say it's a holy moonlight sword, but it's a holy moonlight sword. It kind of cuts into you.
I'll use my armor to. Does it have? Yeah.
Is this magical armor or non-magical armor?
No, it's just leather armor.
All right. So it ignores the non-magical armor.
Oh, that's fine then.
So you take the 3 points, and then everyone else, actually everyone, including you, I need you to make a presence test, and that's going to be DR 12.
I got a 19.
19.
I rolled an 8.
Okay, 8.
I rolled a 14. Oh my gosh, something above 10. What the hell?
You made it. All right. So, Torvul, you will take 4 points of damage as light erupts from the blade as it strikes a board, just illuminates, almost burning everyone's eyes, but especially for you, Torvul, sears into your mind, almost your soul, whatever's left of it. But you take 4 points of damage.
I use a omen to reduce that
Sure.
anyway.
Yes, you can.
Okay, I think I'll burn an omen at that point then.
By D6, I think it is.
Okay. I rolled a 4.
All right. So the light burns everyone's eyes, but thankfully, the gods of fate have decided to spare you this time. It's only inevitable, though. They'll come for you. But until then, it is now Torvul or Abhorred, one of you two. You guys can decide who goes first.
You want to go first, Torvul?
Sure. Why not? Yeah, so I think shrugging off this burning, searing light, Torvul will just draw his short sword and bellow and incoherent challenge and charge at is that it? No, it's strength, right? So,
Strength, yeah, for melee.
oh, I did just roll a 20.
Ooh, come on, crit. All right, so that's going to be 2 times the damage, and yeah, her ethereal barrier. You see it crack, and yeah, she's now got a -2 to her armor.
Okay, so I rolled damage at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, roll damage. It's going to be so roll twice. Or yeah, ×2 damage.
Oh, so just double it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
double
I
damage.
rolled a 4, so that's 8 damage.
So 8. All right.
I swear I'm not making this up.
No, I believe you. All right. Yeah, that's a nice meaty cut. Yeah, as you cut through, you see some of that light that's been cascading off of her just breaks. It's actually made up of those moths, but the moths have become entities of light, and they just sort of scatter away from her body. Abhorred, your turn.
I'm going to use my power to make myself invisible.
Okay.
Which I think is a D20, 12 presence test.
Yes.
I got an 18, so yeah, I'm going invisible, which means nobody. What does it mean specifically? It means Metzahutl, blind your eye, means I'm invisible for D6 rounds. So I'll roll my D6. I'm invisible for 3 rounds, and or until I'm damaged, then I can attack or defend with DR6. But I have a plan.
I love it. All right, Eldanar, your turn.
You're better than me because I had none. Well, so conceivably, I mean, Eldanar can get to her and then try to make a strike of some sort. Cause
Yeah.
he doesn't have anything, I think. No, I mean, he doesn't have a scroll. It doesn't have any power or anything like that. Just the insanity of his peeled fruit idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, knife. Let's see. Oh my god, amazing. All right, so what's my modifier for this?
Yeah, it's strength.
That would be a 16.
16 will hit.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And that's 3.
Every little bit counts here.
Oh yeah.
All right, tell me how you hit it.
So basically, bleeding. He's, I think, because he's bleeding now. I mean, like some of the venom and some of the weirdness of the venom is starting to wear off. So now he's feeling pain. He's feeling the searing, burning pain of his own bloodletting, and so now he's going to apply that in focusing his attention on this witch, and then just going to stab and slash out with his knife. And he managed to get to her and then make a cut.
Awesome. Well, it is now back to the Swamp Witch. All of you hear this psychic screeching, this cry, this battle cry that she lets out as she raises her sword. And now, seeing as how Torvul has been the one to cleave into her the most effectively, she's going to bring her Zweihander down at him. So, Torvul, I need you to make an agility check.
I'll be right with you. 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Agility check. A 6.
Yeah, that's not gonna do it. She brings this Lunar Zweihander down upon you. Again, not even moving her hands. The blade itself just comes crashing down as if giants are wielding it. You do have an omen if you want to use it, or if you have any omens, you can use it.
I have one remaining, yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe let's see how bad it is first, or I guess I can force a reroll on my
Yeah, if you
d20
want
to
to.
avoid it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this magical light hander is probably not something I want to get hit by, so I'm going to burn that omen to reroll that die.
Okay.
And this time I rolled a 19.
Yeah,
with
that
a
makes
plus
it.
one, so a 20.
All right, that makes it.
A
Tell me how you
dirty
dodge
20.
out of the way.
Yeah, I think with the at the last moment that the sword is descending toward Torvul, and he feels like he hears Barbarister's voice, just shrieking, neighing or warning to him, and he sidesteps, and the sword clangs into the ground, raising sparks of light.
Nice. She's not happy about that. And I'll say that in this weird moment of compassion, you also felt a barrister maybe yank you out of the way a bit. Though he would never admit that he cares about you. But yeah, it is now either Torvul or Abhorred's turn.
So my plan is I want to sneak back into the altar chamber, and I'm going to take the sacrificial knife while I'm invisible, and then I'm going to come and try and stab her with it.
Yeah, so you could do that.
If I do like all movement for a turn, I presume I could sort of get in, try and get there and get back.
I would say, I'd say because she's in the center and the altar's in the center of their respective chambers, it would take a full movement to get into the other chamber.
I'll do that then. Yeah, I'm going to sneak off while I'm invisible and say, unwilling sacrifice. Yes.
Awesome. All right. Torvul.
I guess I'll counter her stroke. I'll kind of look up and meet her eyes and raise my eyebrow that I managed to sidestep her blade, and I'll swing back.
Awesome.
Let's see, 11.
Unfortunately,
gonna
that's
miss,
not going to make
right?
it. Yeah, it's not
And
gonna
I have
make it.
no further omens.
Yeah, some of the moths, some of the light moths that are on her body just kind of swarm you momentarily, causing you to sort of it's just to you hit the air essentially, and the moths flutter back around, swarming her. And that's going to be Eldanar.
Well, Torvul is engaging her in one direction, and Eldanar's going to give another try at a swipe with his knife again. Wow. Okay. That is, you said strength, right? So that's a 16. Yeah?
Yeah, 16 will do it.
Okay. And then,
Thankfully, when that crit hit, you reduced her armor, so.
yay. 4.
Ooh, all right. And what's that look like?
Yeah, so Eldanar's waiting for his chance and then watching like Torvul do his thing and kind of bringing her back. But then when she managed to get the upper hand and then he like sort of misses or hits the moths or whatever, then she leaves herself open, and then Eldanar like steps in with a nice like, stabby strike, and then like, brings it out again, getting ready to just see what he can do.
All right, awesome. It is now the Swamp Witch's turn. Since you're the last one to deal her damage, Eldanar, I need you to make it an agility roll. Defense.
Can try.
Try.
5.
Do you have an omen?
I have 1 left, so might as well.
Might as well.
All right, so Ooh. I don't think. Well, I don't think bringing it down by 4 is going to do it. I'm going to re-roll.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Perfectly fine.
Okay. That is agility. So 15.
15 does it.
Okay.
Congratulations. The sword comes down, almost cleaving straight through you, but it just misses by just a millimeter. You almost feel the searing warmth of their blade come down across your face.
I think his comb over is no longer there. I think she managed to slice through, and like you see the strands of hair like flowing down to the floor, and he just looks down and just has a horrified look on his face.
Very that. All right. Abhorred or Torvul?
I'm still just trying to grab the dagger and come back and then sneak up on her while she's distracted.
Okay.
So are you back this turn?
Yeah, you would be back. So I'd say you'd be back. So you used your last turn to move into the chamber. And so you can use your movement to get back to where you were. And then you have your attack.
Yeah, what, this turn?
Yeah.
Okay, and my difficulty DR is 6 when I attack from being invisible.
Okay.
And then I become visible once I've attacked.
Okay.
Oh, nice. That's strength, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a 15.
Yeah, and you said it's a -6 to, or +6.
Plus no, it's a 6. My attack is a DR of 6.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I think that hits. Yeah. Go for it.
And I think I don't know what's the damage for this knife.
It's just gonna be. Let me see. I think it's just a D4 though. Just double check.
Yeah, my knife is a plain knife and it's D4.
Yeah, it's gonna be D4.
But I'm also one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my picture of death and I'm gonna drive the knife through it as I stab her in the back. And I'm gonna use my last omen to just make it 4, like max out the damage.
Okay, awesome. She is not looking great. You see a lot of these moths are starting to flutter away. Her armor is wilting, and you see this oozing, the same color that of the pond water that you had swam through earlier is just pouring from her wounds. Eldanar.
Isn't it me next?
Oh, I'm sorry, Torvul.
Yeah, I think. Torvul kind of steps back astonished as Abhorred appears and stabs the witch, but he tries to take advantage of the situation, and he rolled a 7 to hit, so that's not going to work.
Unfortunately, no.
Too astonished at Eldanar's Abhorred's sudden appearance.
Yeah, of course.
Fumbles his attack.
All right, Eldanar.
All right, he's again, like just kind of using what Torvul's doing to try to find his way in, because now it's literally his life, his existential crisis on the line. So, all right, that would be a 15.
15 will hit.
Okay. And a 4.
Nice. She is looking rough, but she's still in it to win it. And with that, Swamp Witch turns to you Abhorred. You hear in your mind, she hisses, "Your mother was a good woman. Disgusting, really. She should have turned you into an omelet when she had the chance." And she's going to cleave into you with the lunar sword, lunar Zweihander. So go ahead and make that agility check.
Okay. The agility that I totally have, yeah.
Yeah, you're like.
Yeah, I totally got a 4. 5, sorry.
Fabulous. As the blade comes down across you, you take 8 points of damage. And I need everyone to make a presence test DR 12.
A 16.
Okay.
Now in the clutch, my dice are giving me good rolls. I got a 17.
Okay. Aboard.
Yeah. I got a 3. It's kind of a moot point anyway, but
Yeah. As the blade comes down across you, the light fills again with that bright, blinding white light. And it's blinding enough and sears into your flesh enough for you to take an additional 3 points of radiant damage. How are you looking, Aboard? You're muted.
I think I'm at -5 at this point. No, 8, 9, 10, 11. Was that 11 in total, actually?
Yes.
-8.
Okay. Tell me how you are obliterated.
I basically laugh and say, and sort of swamp water starts to bubble out of my mouth, and I say, I'm not allowed to die. I'm going to see the stars now. And just sort of dissolve into the goo from which I was made and just like coat the witch with like swamp goo. And all that's left is the red diamond ring that was like inside my lung cavity.
Mm. So you have an option. You can remain dead, or we can bring in your other character.
Well, my other character is like a were-raven, so maybe the owl got her friend to come and maybe they could both turn up.
Okay, yeah, cool. So just get ready for that then. And with that, we'll start with, actually, if you want to go ahead and just roll initiative for your other character.
Sure.
We'll fit it into this.
What is it again? I've forgotten what the
Agility
the
plus
dice
D6.
is. Okay, that's just +0 then. Yeah, so I'm just doing it now. 5.
5. All right, so that means you go first. So, as you all watch Abhorred's body just become dissolved and splattered across the chamber, all of you are covered in some of its swamp muck. Tell me how you enter, and tell me what the others see.
Well, I think that the owl turns up again with another animal, which is a bone-skulled raven, which is what you would imagine. It's like a raven with like a sort of thick, bony skull that flies in. Nice. And is currently just shrieking and circling the witch.
All right. So yeah, you've got an attack.
I actually get 2 attacks per round with my claws.
Okay.
It's just like fast and flying, defense is DR10, 2 attacks. Yeah, so basically it's I'm gonna just do both of my attacks, and my strength is so it's just what's the DR? What would the DR be for that?
The DR for her right now is 12.
Okay, cool.
14.
Yeah, let's go for it. 1, 2. Yeah, so I got a 9 and a 14. So one of them.
Yeah, second one hits.
One of them hits, and that's a D4 damage. So that's a raking raven attack of 3 damage.
Nice. She is falling apart here. You see some of the black smoke that comes out that makes up her head is starting to dissipate as well, and the diamond white eyes are starting to flicker. Torvul, it's your turn.
Yeah, I think just muttering a surprised curse at the appearance of this raven, Torvul just lunges toward her, seeing that she's getting weak. But I rolled an 8. Okay, yeah. So
You don't have any omens, right?
nope.
All
I
right.
had 2 to start with, and I used both already.
All right. I'll say that. Yeah, you attempt to lunge, but the maws that are now violently swirling around her, trying to keep their master's form corporeal, are just too much to fight through. But Eldanar, you're up.
Okay. That would be a 13.
Just misses.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, I think between the Raven's appearance and just shock that the Hegelian owl was like, "You brought friends," and then watching Torvul kind of muck it up a little bit. Then yeah, I mean, probably just try to take a stab swipe and missed.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are back to the Swamp Witch, and since this bird is now a nuisance, she is going to use this giant Zweihander blade to try and cut this bird down. So I need you to make a agility test.
Yeah, and my defense is 10, DR 10. So, and thankfully, I got an 11. So
Awesome. Yeah, she tries to swipe, but you're quick, you're nimble, and with that, you get to retaliate.
yeah, so I'll do two more attacks, like raking bird attacks.
All right, 14.
No, 2 7s, so that doesn't do anything. But
all right, Torvul, it's all on you. Unless you miss, then it's all on Eldanar.
Sorry, I was shouting 13 in triumph, but I was muted. So I think a 13 connects, right?
It's 14.
Oh,
14.
damn it.
Yeah. You're just being swarmed by these light maws right now. But as that's happening,
Yeah. Torvul is
Eldanar.
convinced he's got her, but at the last second, yeah, misses again.
Yeah. Eldanar.
Oh, God. Okay, so that is a 17.
That hits.
3.
Do you have any omens that you want to bump the damage up with?
I have no omens left.
You see that as you
I can
strike.
I can throw the ochre tablet at her. That's all I can do.
No. But yeah, you see that her form is struggling to keep itself together. You see that pieces of her are starting to dissolve into this black smoke. Scales are starting to fall off of her. And then in this last desperate attempt, she is going to try and finish you off. Eldanar, I need you to make an agility test, a defense test.
Oh, you gods. 13.
You make it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm feeling awful nimble now.
Yeah, now you are. But just barely. You feel that again. It cleaves off the rest of whatever hair you had.
Yeah.
As the blade just swipes above you. But now it is Abhorred. It's your turn. Or not Abhorred. What's your name now?
Temla the Raven, the were-raven, the cursed skinwalker. Well, as well as raking claw attacks, I can also instead try and headbutt with my bone skull. So I'm going to try and do that this time. It's like one attack, and it's a D6 if I can do it. But oh shit, yeah, I got an 18. And I also have one omen. I only rolled one omen, but I'm going to use it to just...
How do you finish her off? How do you just come in, swoop in at the last minute and finish her off?
I know. The dagger is still in her back, and I headbutt the dagger with my bony raven skull, and it drives like the book. No, sorry, the picture of death like right into her, and she like splits open.
Yeah, she's kind of clawing, trying to remove this image of death that's now hugging her. But as she does, the moths are just drifting away, and her body just becomes nothing but black smoke, and then dissolves before the dagger and the triptych both fall to the ground. And it is now quiet. The moths and the black smoke have drifted out of this chamber. Before you, you now just see this giant, massive Zweihander blade made of white moonlight. You have found the Zweihander that you've been tasked with. What do?
Is this raven yours, Eldanar? bloody
no,
thing just saved our lives, I think.
yeah, no. I mean, he looks to the Hegelian owl and it's like, I know I don't say this often, but thank you for bringing your friend. I mean, this was immensely gracious and helpful.
Well, she owed me a favor, so.
I thank you.
Well,
And
if that's all, then ta-ta. And the owl just flutters off.
And I think while this is happening, the raven's like fallen to the ground as if dead, and is now like, you know, that really ugly type of transmogrification you get where there's like bits of muscle and horrible like twisting, bone snapping noises after several minutes of screaming and agony. Instead of a raven, there's like a woman with all these scars where she's like cut herself all over her, like this drunken looking, ill-kempt, bony woman in the kind of raven feather outfit and like black teeth, and she looks up and says,
Owl owed me a favor. Back in the day, bailed me out. But I got that which good, didn't I?
And we appreciate you for it. Thank you. And then Eldanar will turn to the goo remains of Abhorred, and they didn't necessarily prove their being, but I guess wherever they are now alive forever.
Torvul, it's at this moment where you see Babarister standing over the lunar Zweihander, and he goes, "Come on, let's go home."
Yeah, Torvul meets the horse's eye. Says, I told you I wasn't going to listen to that witch. Picks up the Zweihander.
And Babarister lowers himself as if to be mounted. And you do. And the rest of you begin to file out, presumably, unless there's anything else that you wanted to do. File out, following Babarister and Torvul. The cultists who are remaining are either too busy sleeping or having sex or being too stoned to say goodbye to you. And you are otherwise unprovoked as you exit this sepulchre of the Swamp Witch. You manage to cross across this pond untouched. And as you get to the coast, as you get to the edge of the pond, rather, you emerge with this Zweihander strapped to your back, Torvul. And as soon as you all do, you are just an entire barrage of arrows fly into all of your bodies. And the jailer, the one who looks like this massive, scarred Wolverine of a man, stands over your dying body, Torvul. "Ah, good job." And just reaches down and picks up the Zweihander.
If
Holds it over his
Eldanar
back.
has any consciousness left, he's going to point at Torvul and say, "I told you."
I'm sure that damn horse is sneering at me now as well.
Yeah, no, you see that the horse is now just like shaking its head above you in disapproval, but disappointment rather. But with that, you all managed to successfully clear out the sepulchre of the Swamp Witch. You got the Lunar Zweihander, and though you do not live to see the rewards of that, you do get the reward of freedom and no longer having to be put into those strange iron pods. But with that, I think that's a good way to end it. And I want to thank you all for coming. I hope you all had fun. If you want to do some stars and wishes, if you have time, I'm totally down for it.
Yeah, totally.
We'll start with whomever wants to go first.
Again.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just, I big star for Babarister. He was awesome. Never used him to influence the action in any way, but I thoroughly enjoyed interacting with him.
I mean, definitely star for you, Jack, because that was hilarious. Oh my god. I didn't honestly know what to expect for this game. I mean, tone is a tough thing, especially when it's like, oh, doom metal. I mean, that could mean a lot of different things to different people. But
Yeah.
I mean, there was humor in it. There was, I mean, as you put it, like the 80s sword and sorcery type of thing, and it's like I could picture that over the topness to it, but there was still horror. There was still like a lot of that. Oh god, what's that vibe? It's just so like sexy and too colorful and too big shoulder padded and stuff. I just can't explain it, but I mean, you conveyed it very well, and I had a lot of fun doing this. Although, I mean, my dice rolls in the beginning proves why I don't do OSR anymore.
But it all worked out. It all came out in the wash in the end.
Yeah,
It
no,
all
I mean,
worked
it was
out.
fine. I mean, I was perfectly ready to bring out my second character if I needed to. So I'm just like,
Mhm.
oh, this is good. This is fun. I won't be so cautious next time.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed how extra it was, and that everyone was also enjoying being extra, and that is something I always find like just fun, great fun. So everyone was really great to play with.
Oh, like Abhorred, I love Abhorred. I mean, oh my god.
Yeah.
Just such a chaos agent, and I love that shit. It's like, oh my god, the picture, the triptych of death. I love it. That was beautiful.
Also, he was right. He didn't die. He dissolved.
No, he dissolved, and it was beautiful. I mean, that
It's
was
true.
such a great ending for him. Oh my gosh. So, yep.
Well, yeah, my stars are just everybody for being open and committing to all of this. It's a game I love. I don't get to play it much. I don't get to run it much. And so it was really nice to be able to play it with people who were very committed to just enjoying the atmosphere and the chaos. I think this kind of game works best when you just submit to those kind of things. My only wish is that if and when this is played next time, that you all are more willing to die.
Yeah, I mean,
You
again,
guys definitely avoided a lot, and I was
yeah.
Yeah, right. I think we got super lucky considering like how many times Torvul swung that sword and missed.
Yeah.
That was a
The one
mess.
time he connected, he got a critical hit, and then
Yeah.
yeah, it was. I felt like there was probably a whole lot. Like in terms of a wish, I think the one thing is maybe if we'd been engaged with the cultists a little more, but I think we did.
Yeah, well,
did
that's the thing is there's a
logical
whole
thing.
room full of them you just missed.
Right.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
That's the whole nature of maps and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it's not, yeah.
but we did
I think-
play it cautiously. Yeah. So
Right.
I think I just have that play to win, play to lose trophy goal
Yeah,
thing
right.
ingrained into me so much now. I always try and survive even though I know I'm gonna die. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's
I would have been
interesting.
100% fine if Torvul had like had his head chopped off by that wedge, but
Well,
the
I
dice
mean,
went our way after a fashion.
Yeah. Fun fact too, the witch is not dead. You did not kill her. She'll be back. But
Mhm.
oh
but
yeah,
good try. You got the sword. So that's all that matters.
right. And yeah, well, I mean, like, mission accomplished, but I knew it. There was gonna be a shit in the end. I love it. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's just bonkers, and that's what we were here for. So, I mean, if you don't mind running this again, Jack, or if
My
like
God, no, I
anybody
love
else
this
wants to
game.
try give it a shot, then
Yeah, I
yeah,
would
absolutely. Like
100% play this again. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. I've been curious about like doing like more than just a one shot at some point. And yeah, definitely want to check out Cyborg too. I gotta,
Yeah.
Yeah,
gotta
that's
read
really
more
cool.
of that. But yeah, they make
And
great games.
Can this game like run like a campaign and
Yeah,
stuff like that? Where it's just...
there is kind of like an internal countdown, which is called the Miseries, and it's like basically there's 7 signs of the apocalypse that can be activated throughout your campaign. But there are definitely things like you can get feats, you can get certain benefits with like a prolonged campaign. But I've only ever run one shot, so I'd be curious to run like a prolonged thing.
Yeah, I think even with the way the character advancement works, like everyone's still real vulnerable.
Yeah.
You never get anything close to bulletproof or
Oh, absolutely not.
but I mean, I guess it's like
which
again,
is fun.
trying to fall into this. Well, I mean, like a little bit of the trophy dark play to lose, and not being afraid of that, and just just running with it, and then seeing what happens. I guess. Again, it's like trying to get out of that old traditional way of playing to not be afraid and just throw caution to the winds and seeing what sticks basically. So I mean, if I play this again, it's like I'll definitely try different things.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to the day that I'm able to run it again.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And
And then if people want to run Cyborg and stuff, it's like hopefully we'll find some.
if someone else
congenial
wants to run
times.
Cyborg, I'd love to play in it because I haven't been able to play in Cyborg. I mean, I've only played Mörk Borg once, and it was like for half a session. So, if anyone else wants to run it, I would totally be down to play it.
I do have quite a good one called Temple of the Kraken God that is really good. So
Nice.
I guess we could always take turns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, again,
Good, yeah.
yeah, my thought process is for any of this stuff that I'm trying to set up with everybody, just trying to get people together and then finding a way to be able to rotate through these games. So, I get to play and then maybe I get to run and then, just figure out like, who's available and like, who wants to run something in particular. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to do this again. And then, if there's something in particular that appeals, then I would love to give it a shot running and, have you guys forgive me for messing it up. And yeah, just like, just kind of make the rotation. So
Yeah, same for me. I mean, I'd be happy to take a crack at running it sometime or running Cyborg.
sure.
Awesome.
All right, great.
Well, thank you again, everybody.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
this
doing
was
this,
great.
Jack.
Yeah, thank you. It was great,
And
everyone.
it's nice meeting you, James. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise. You're awesome. Love the
thank
energy.
you. Yeah, and look, great to meet you. I already know. We've
James and I have been a couple of trophy games together, I think.
Yeah, we've
Two?
played before, but
Yeah.
no, I haven't. That's all.
Nice. Well, I look forward to more, and I look forward to Mörk. Huh? No. I'm spent. I'm done.
Okay.
I'm cooked.
No.
Yeah.
I get it. Again, thank you guys so much, and then enjoy the rest of your evening, morning, whatever. And I'll see you next time. Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.